gentlemen, this is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization in our changing world, and we have seen some significant changes this week. It's that time of week where I do a quick rundown of the most important news stories, things that I think are most important. First, I want to let you know that I have something for you, and hopefully it will help fund this addiction of mine of bringing you the news. Years ago, I wrote a book called Twisted Trade. I've now gotten it turned into an audio book, and I want to thank my narrator, Jerome Ferguson. I think he did a great job. I'll give a description at the end of this video so you can know more about it, and a link in the description if you're interested in purchasing and or downloading it. I'll have a link for a hard copy of the book, or a softback book, or the audio book. Now, energy war runs our world, so that's where I start. West Texas Intermediate crude ended the week at $62.69. Brent North Sea crude ended the week at $66.99. OPEC ended the week at $70.43. Gold was up significantly this week at $3,643.10. Silver ended the week at $42.19, also up significantly. The Baltic Exchange Dry Goods Index, which is a measure of how well the transporters think that trade is being conducted, it ended up a little bit this week at $2,126. The bonds. The U.S. 10-year bond ended the week at 4.07%. The UK bond ended the week at 4.676%. And Japanese bonds were up slightly at 1.6024%. As I've noted recently, the ships around the Strait of Hormuz continue to pile up. The insurers are scared of insuring the ships, and the transporters don't want to run the risk of something happening between them and Iran, either a seizure or some type of military strike. As far as military and naval deployments go, ISR flights continue as much as they have in the past. Surveillance along the southern border, the western mountains. There's also some surveillance in the south, kind of like in the Atlanta area. But we've also this week we've seen some flights heading towards our northern border. Just a few more flights, not a significant number, but a few more flights. In the Navy, we're actually down a couple of ships, down to 291, and of those, 105 are deployed, 53 are underway. The USS George Washington is in Yokosuka, Japan, making a visit. The George Washington is conducting routine operations in the Norwegian Sea. The Nimitz continues to conduct operations in the North Arabian Sea. The USS America is conducting routine operations in the North Pacific in the vicinity of Hawaii. The USS Tripoli is in Sasebo, Japan. The Iwo Jima continues to be in the waters off of Venezuela. I will also make a note. I have this. Actually, I should have brought this up here, but the United States deployed 10 F-35s to Puerto Rico. This is likely in response to the Venezuelan F-16s buzzing the U.S. Navy ships. That will actually provide support for that force for whatever operations they plan to conduct. So currently, the whole force is about 4,000 people. I believe it's 2,200 Marines. In the European markets, the DAX ended the week at 23,698.15. The FTSE 100 ended the week at 7,287.04. The CAC 40 ended the week at 7,819.05, and the IBEX 35 ended the week at 15,308.20. I noted a little while ago that Western powers were concerned about the Russia and Belarusian military exercises, Zapad 2025. Those exercises have kicked off, and the rest of Europe continues to be on edge, concerned. In this week, there were a number of Russian drones that had conducted incursions into Polish airspace. This caused a great deal of concern. And I don't know exactly what they're thinking, but Poland, the discussion of Article 5 and Article 4 for NATO were discussed. This means that the NATO powers would have to call their forces together and prepare for operations against Russia. Now, exactly what those operations would entail is still unclear. In fact, NATO, well, what operations would include all of NATO is very unclear. France and Germany said that they were helping to strengthen NATO ally Poland's air defense. And this was on this past week, September 10th. German government spokesman Stefan Cornelius on the following day, September 11th, said Berlin's military would extend and expand air policing over Poland to provide additional air cover for the country's airspace, which I'm sure Poland is extremely excited to have German aircraft flying over their airspace again. The French president said that his country would deploy 3 Rafale fighter jets to contribute to the protection of Polish airspace and of NATO's eastern flank, together with our allies. Interestingly enough, Berlin saw a power outage for several hours. It is the guess is that there was an attack on some of the substations, an electrical attack, and cut the electricity to Berlin. The French government has failed again. This is, I believe, the 4th time in 12 months. The French president is going to have to find another prime minister, and this will likely lead to early elections. I don't know. I don't know how politics runs exactly in France, but it doesn't look good. They've just had too many prime ministers, and again, the current French administration wanted to cut public spending, and the people didn't like it, so there was a lot of pushback to it. Additionally, the Austrian government is struggling. They have had, let's see, a note, article from the European Conservative, which is interesting. Conservative. European Conservative is very different than American Conservative. But in the article it says the coalition, in office since March, has struggled with a weak economy and the pressure of introducing a strict austerity package to address the country's strained public finances. Discontent is proving advantageous for what they call the right-wing party, which is actually nice this time. They call it the Right-Wing Freedom Party, or FPO. So Austria is looking at some very serious problems as well. Over in Asia, the Nikkei ended the week at 811.56. The SSE Compacts ended the week at 3,871.14. The Hang Seng ended the week at 26,387.32. The Sensex ended the week at 81,867.20. And the Nifty 50 ended the week at 25,107.85. The big problem, and I did a video on this week, but in Nepal, their government just absolutely came apart. There was lots of rioting, lots of protest. Several people were killed. I believe it was it 22, 25 people or so. They burned the Parliament building. They burned the past prime minister's building, and his wife was injured. Nepal's got a lot of problems, and the problems have been occurring because they've got corruption in the Nepalese government as well. They've got the government leaders are taking some very generous benefits, and the young people are not getting the attention that they feel they deserve. And then the Nepalese government decided to shut down social media, and there just outrage occurred. Well, after the outrage, the government reopened the social media, but the protests continued anyway. Nepal is feeling the effects of what much of the rest of the world is feeling, and that is economic problems that are stirring. And they don't have good jobs. They don't see a good future, and it's looking rough. So Nepal's in a very serious problem. Japan, the prime minister is stepping down. His government has been mired in corruption charges and repeated charges, and it's finally come to a head, and he has decided to step aside. So France is reforming. Austria is struggling. Nepal is in flames, and Japan is trying to keep things together. We've got quite a few countries around the world that are struggling. In China, as far as trade goes, they're still negotiating the trade with the United States. In the meantime, nearly 2/3 of 254 companies who responded to a survey said that new tariffs have reduced expected revenues for their China operations. About a third, many in the banking and other industries, don't import from or export to the U.S., don't expect any impact. U.S. president imposed a 30% tax on imports from China. This is after raising them at one point to 145% before the two countries agreed in May to scale back the tariff war. And currently, China has responded with a 10% tax on U.S. imports. Russia and China are looking to establish a gas pipeline. The head of Russia's state-owned gas company, Gazprom, says the deal's been in works, but there are a number of many unanswered questions. The pipeline would run 6,700 kilometers from gas fields in Yamal Peninsula to western Siberia, past Lake Baikal in eastern Siberia, then across Mongolia into China. Now, this is kind of interesting because this has been offered many times throughout the years, but China has refused. Despite Russia and China working together right now against the United States, they have a very tenuous relationship. In fact, if a little bit of pressure is applied, they probably have a worse relationship with each other than they do the United States. However, right now they recognize that the United States is the biggest threat, and they're willing to work together a little more. They finally are making some more agreements, but China is in the driver's seat on this one, and they're demanding that oil be sold at a lower price than I want to say expected, lower price than what they're selling to Europe, or probably to even other places on the black market. In a shocking development, Israeli forces struck Hamas leaders in Qatar. There apparently was no coordination with other nations, especially the United States. The U.S. president was surprised and only learned about the attack after it had occurred. This is an escalation that no one expected, and it is leaving Gulf states questioning their association with the United States and Israel, which many of the Gulf states, many nations in the Middle East have quiet, behind the scenes relationships with Israel, but they don't want their populations to know about it. But they're there. This, though, I don't know what to expect to come out of this. And I'm surprised that they launched this attack overtly and not covertly. I expect this will shake things up quite a bit, and I'm not exactly sure how. That strike was against the leaders of Hamas. It ended up killing a Qatari officer as well, but Israel, I know, struck them because they're tired of dealing with the leaders. And I also find it interesting that Hamas leaders continue to take in money for Gaza, but they never distributed that money. Gaza right now lays in ruins, and well, kind of make no sense to send money there at the moment, but Gaza lays in ruins, and the Qataris live very nicely in Doha. Doha is actually a pretty nice spot. Israel continued their strikes into Gaza with a barrage of airstrikes, killing at least 32 people later this week. That was later this week. I believe that was on Friday. Down in Africa, at least 89 Christians have been slaughtered by jihadists in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo. Open Doors, which monitors Christian persecution around the world, claimed that some 70 were killed Monday night and while worshiping at a funeral service, with the rest being slain in villages of Petudu and Nyoto. This is in the North Kivu region. Two separate boat accidents this week in northwestern Congo killed at least 193 people and left scores missing. This was reported on Friday. There was the top Nigerian militant, Mahmoud Mohammed Usman. He headed the Ansara group, pled guilty to charges of engaging in illegal mining to procure arms for his militant group. His first conviction on a total of 32 charges brought to him by the Nigerian government. He ended up with 15 years in prison for the illegal mining and funding of terror attacks. A bit of good news, at least I hope it ends up being good news. Mozambique has gotten a $6 billion backing for a hydroelectric plant, which is the largest in southern Africa for the past 50 years. Hopefully that will provide them the kind of energy that they need here in the near future. In the Americas, we had a lot of things shaking up this past week in the Americas. As far as the markets go, though, the Dow Jones ended the week at 45,896.87. The S&P 500 ended the week at 6,584, and the Nasdaq Composite ended the week at 22,139.94. In Brazil, the former president was sentenced to 27 years in prison for plotting a military coup and seeking to annihilate the South American country's democracy. Now, the question it's kind of funny. The current president is a former criminal, and now he's turning the former president into a current criminal. I honestly don't know exactly what to take out of that, but the levers of power have decided that the former president deserves to go to jail. So that's what's happening with him. The United States, I noted under the military deployments that the United States is sending more F-35s to Puerto Rico. They are also sending a number of other things, MQ-9 Reaper drones. The F-35s, like I said, there are plenty of C-17 cargo aircraft flying equipment in and out, and KC-135 Stratotankers and KC-46 Pegasus air refueling aircraft. They're all in the region to conduct operations against Venezuela. Now, I need to note that although the U.S. is engaged in Venezuela directly, this is an indirect battle with Venezuela's allies, China and Russia. They both have military representatives and civil engineers in Venezuela to advise and to help build their infrastructure. This is a multifaceted battle. It is, and you need to keep an eye on it. Not only is the U.S. president conducting those operations to threaten Venezuela and limit the power of Russia and China, but he is also conducting ICE raids in the United States, and he is removing criminal elements from the communities, and many of these are associated with those criminal gangs coming out of Venezuela. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released a report this past week that revised. I just have to laugh about this. It revised jobs from the March 2024 to March 2025. So much of this is from the last administration, aside from the first 3 months of this year. Actually, more like about 2.5, not quite 2.5. The revised jobs down to 911,000. That leads me to question how many jobs were actually made. I think I heard one report suggesting it was only about 76,000 jobs a month, even though the Bureau of Labor Statistics had been reporting 250 to 350,000 jobs a month being made. Well, these revisions, they actually show that there needs to be some shakeup at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the president was justified in firing one of the heads earlier this year. The United States has seen a spat of violence this past week, and I laugh. There are a lot of people who seem to think that it's an Olympic game to see who can get the most attention for their crime. There's way too much crime going on for everybody to get all of the notoriety that they want. So one of the incidents was an Indian man who was managing a hotel in Dallas, ended up in an argument with one of his employees, and the employee was an illegal alien from Cuba, ended up killing the Indian man, and in front of his family. It was very devastating. It just goes to show that we need, even with immigrants, they need the law and order in this country. This is after the video of the young lady being killed in Charlotte on the light rail system. A Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zarutska, ended up becoming the victim of a 14-time criminal who was still out on the street, able to victimize her. This week, I'll get to the most significant murder this week and explain why it's significant. But on, what day was it? Wednesday, there was a school shooting in Evergreen High School near Denver, Colorado. 2 people were injured, and the shooter took his own life. The most significant death this week was that of political pundit and activist Charlie Kirk. I'll go into a few more details in a little bit, but after his assassination, a number of bomb threats came across the nation at University of Massachusetts, University of Central Florida in Orlando, several historically black colleges and universities. In a interesting bad misunderstanding, at the U.S. Naval Academy, a former midshipman phoned in a hoax active shooter alert. He suggested someone was on campus posing as a police officer. That's about the time a real police officer was attempting to enter a building to make sure that it was secure, and he was attacked by a midshipman by one of their demonstration rifles, a rifle for the demonstration team. The midshipman struck the officer several times, police officer several times. The officer drew his weapon, shot the midshipman in the arm, both realizing that there's more to the story. The midshipman, and they both stood down finally. The midshipman was flown to the hospital and was expected to make a full recovery. Now, I've got a lot of notes here on the death of Charlie Kirk. And I don't care which way you look at it. I'm trying to look at the impact of why it happened and what to expect out of the future. There's a huge divide in the United States, and Charlie Kirk was a huge influencer. Whether you like him or not, he had a lot of influence. He had a massive impact on young people through his organization, Turning Point USA. It was even beginning to have international influence. Mainstream media is dying. Current influence with young people is through short videos. Young men are sharing videos as they play video games, and whether you agree with the videos or not, they're having an influence. Now, typically, young men are being influenced by a certain group of people, and young women by a different group of people. So the echo chambers are different. And young men seem to be becoming more conservative. Young women are becoming a lot more liberal. Charlie Kirk traveled to college campuses and spoke with people who disagreed with him. He invited them to the mic and asked them to be able to debate them. This is completely opposite of what many of his opponents do. They enjoy shutting down discussion through censorship of platforms or dominating debates by not letting their opponents speak, not giving them the mic, or shutting it off. When Elon Musk purchased Twitter, he eliminated the censorship of people on the right, and the left lost their minds. Musk wasn't planning on engaging censors for the left. He was just not going to censor the right anymore. The discord between right and left has been very tense for a while. For decades, politicians and pundits have been calling their opponents Hitlers, fascist, racist, and a threat to democracy, plus a variety of other things. I remember going back all the way to Reagan. He was considered an extremist because he wanted to stand up to the Soviet Union instead of capitulating. The rhetoric has been violent for a while. After the Supreme Court issued a ruling ending nationwide abortion bans, a senator from New York told Supreme Court Judges Kavanaugh and Gorsuch that they would reap the whirlwind. After George Floyd died, congressional representatives said there needs to be unrest in the streets. Vice President said that protesters should not let up. And House Speaker and inside trader stated, "I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be." These justifications, and that's just a sample of the things that I've run across. I've got a much larger sample if anybody ever wants them. These justifications gave the extremists motivation to engage in violence. Several years ago, Congressional Representative Steve Scalise was shot by a Bernie Sanders supporter. Audrey Hale, the Nashville shooter, felt marginalized since she was transgender. The The Pulse nightclub shooter claimed he was killing for ISIS. Now, we're still gathering all of the data. A lot of people are declaring victory, and I think way too early about who killed Charlie Kirk. But Charlie Kirk was killed by a sniper's rifle. Early indications are that although the shooter's family is very conservative, he himself was a radicalized leftist. He has etched messages into the bullets like, "Hey, fascist, catch," which is an Antifa message. Oh, Bella Ciao, oh, Bella Ciao. That's part of an Italian World War II anti-fascist song. Those were other things etched into the bullets, and I believe those were bullets that they collected on the rifle that they picked up. That was found. No matter if you support him or hate him, you didn't kill his ideas. You turned Charlie Kirk into a martyr and exploded the movement. A lot of people are calling turning point now, and they're talking about what needs to happen and what they can do to help advance the cause. I personally encourage people to find better means of discourse. We need to find common ground and end the threats to each other. There's another aspect of this that we need to be careful of, and that is that we need to end the entitlement mentality. We need to relearn how to appreciate each other and the efforts that other people make. No job is too little, and no job is too insignificant. We got to learn the respect. I know that I certainly feel better whenever I show somebody a little bit of respect. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, I do believe, has changed some things, not just in the United States, but in the world. And we are going to feel the impact, good and bad. Like I said, I encourage you guys, be careful out there and be cautious about what you do and how you do it. Tensions are very high, and we need to be able to tone it down. But everybody's looking and pointing fingers right now so that the other person will tone things down. We need to take it upon ourselves. Sometimes just a smile will help. That wraps up everything that I have for this week, and I hope that you've appreciated this weekly update. I hope that you guys are doing well. Much love to everybody. And here at the end of this, I want to go over my audiobook, or my book altogether. Brief description of it. It is called A Twisted Trade. It was published in 2014 as a paperback book, and you can pick up the paperback. I will have a link here in the description below. The description of the book is that the small kingdom of Commenda has ventured into the slave trade. The king looks to his most trusted advisor, Chimzei, to manage the rival tribesmen captured from local countryside. As an entrepreneurial man, the king sees the wealth of his European contacts and realizes the potential of the trade. He seeks to increase his wealth and expand his kingdom. Charging Chimzei with a mission, he dutifully follows the slave trade to the New World. What he finds makes him doubt his mission. The deeper he goes, the clearer the picture becomes. Cloaked in secrets, the reality of slavery is a legacy of violence, terror, and families torn apart. Can Chimzei resist the lure of money and power to stand up to the people? Can he convince others to give up the trade? What would you risk to be on the right side of history? Ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate the opportunity that you give me to listen to me each week, and I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, and you recognize that there are a lot of changes coming. Much love, like I said, and I look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. Thanks. Bye.